The Bug Bucks Podcast!
Our returns on Yelp are astronomical for what we spend. My worst month, for every dollar I spend, I generate 5. And on average, it's closer to 10, and I've had it as high as 15.
That's crazy.
We have probably 1,500 reviews online on 3 different Yelp pages, 3 different Google pages. We're 4.9 stars rated across all of those. We respond in under 5 minutes.
My guest today is Seth Fenn. He's a third-generation pest control professional that founded Cura 6 years ago. Drawing on experience in the construction and finance worlds, Seth prioritizes employee well-being through above-average compensation and a positive work environment, driving Cura's rapid growth and strong reputation. I've heard stories of people crushing it on Yelp. We've tried several times and it just never works. What is it? What is the difference specifically for that platform?
I think the one thing is, and the one thing I learned early on was making sure I have.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Bug Bucks Podcast. I'm your host, Allan Draper. Thanks so much for joining us today. I know you're busy. I know you're out there hustling, driving trucks, you're fixing technician issues, you're building your company. So thanks for taking time and spending it with us today. I hope there's some value. I know there's going to be some value in this episode. So make sure to listen to it all the way to the end. Also, we need some more reviews. I haven't asked for reviews for a while. Whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, go ahead and leave us a review. Let us know how we can do better. What are the things that you like about it? That helps other people that are looking for the Bug Bucks Podcast to actually find it. So also, if you're needing help training or you're trying to figure out how to get your pest control company to the next level, check out Bug Bucks Plus. Just go to bugbucksplus.com. Check out all the cool courses that we have available. It's a minimal monthly subscription, lots of topics. If you're training a new person, set them up on that. There's tons of videos, tons of resources there. So check that out. All right, let's get into it. My guest today is Seth Fenn. He's a third-generation pest control professional that founded Cura 6 years ago with a mission to build one of Southern California's fastest-growing and most trusted pest control companies. Drawing on experience in the construction and finance worlds, he blends hands-on industry knowledge with strategic insight, emphasizing clear communication, top-tier customer service, and long-term client relationships. Committed to both quality, service, and a supportive team culture, Seth prioritizes employee well-being through above-average compensation and a positive work environment, driving Cura's rapid growth and strong reputation. And with that, Seth, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What an intro, man. That's some cool stuff. And I don't even know where I got the intro. I'm assuming it came from you, but it says that you prioritize employee well-being through above-average compensation. That's awesome.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things I've found, and I think this speaks for the whole service industry, is that, I think number one, a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck. And so I think one of the most important things is pay to them. So I think if you can prioritize that, I think, the company functions and things like that are important, but I definitely think that pay is probably the number one important thing to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Cura. So you've been running for it for 6 years now.
Correct.
Where are you guys? So you're in Southern California. Where are you exactly?
We're in Anaheim, right next to Angel Stadium.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. And you service both Orange and LA counties, or what's the service area?
We service, we just acquired another branch office in Temecula in April. So we go all the way out in the Temecula Valley, the Inland Empire, Orange County, and we just opened up some new space into kind of like South LA and Pasadena. So not all of LA, but probably, let's say 25% of it so far.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So you weren't always in pest control. Looks like you had that construction background, some finance background. Tell us about that. Tell us about this. What led you to pest control?
Well, I am third generation pest control owner. So my grandpa started a company 75 years ago. My dad ran it for 30. So all growing up, I was basically born and raised doing pest control. I remember 12 years old, I was going out crawling attics when I got in trouble in the summertime. And so he'd send me with the guys. And
that's a good punishment.
Yeah, exactly. Crawling subways and attics. So, I did it all growing up. And then how I kind of transitioned into finance and construction was when I was working for my dad, I would work for him and then also a contractor that was part of our church. And so I kind of bounced back and forth. So I really liked the construction side. I kind of ran more of the wood crew side at the termite company. And so I kind of gravitated towards that. And then when I started going to college, I kind of worked part-time for each one of them back and forth. And back then I was kind of young and dumb, and all I could think about was pest control is not sexy. I don't want to be killing bugs my whole life and doing this. And I never thought about owning the business. And so I went to college, went into finance for 10 years, and then kind of got burned out of that and decided to make a career change. So
that's funny. Like, so the listeners have heard this 100 times, but I always talk about how pest control is not a sexy business, and we're purposefully like trying to keep it that way. Like at the top, like I always think of like this sexiness scale, and it's like at the top we've got, software companies, AI, tech, any type of innovation or inventions or whatever. And then you go all the way down to the bottom, and just above the janitors are the bug guys.
For sure. Yeah.
I think what's funny about that is, like, I own a digital marketing agency and we do great. I've been involved in software startups and some of these other quote unquote sexy industries.
Right.
And it's like, there's something to be said for a lot of aspects of pest control, but especially cash flow from recurring pest control, which is also related to valuations from pest control businesses. And the ceiling is a lot higher than the average person thinks when, I proudly tell them that I'm a attorney turned bug guy. So,
right.
Kind of funny that you mentioned that. Let's talk a little bit about, so that journey. So 6 years ago you started. What was it that made you kind of come back to the industry kind of in full force? It sounds like with some of those businesses, it was still kind of related, right? It sounds like you guys were doing restorative, it sounds like damage from termite issues. Is that what was going on there with the construction company?
Yeah, I went into finance, and then I kind of went back to my dad and said, "Hey, I'm done with finance. With my construction background, let me come back to work with you guys." I started a construction company with the same name as their termite company. It was our last name, called Fenn Termite and Fenn Construction, and we started that. And I started working with their property managers. Tons of HOAs, apartments. It was all multifamily construction work. And so we grew that company from 0 to 50 employees roughly. We worked for the Irvine company, the biggest apartment complex companies in the country, doing 6 and 7 figure projects primarily. And then we started getting into $5 and $10 million projects. And I started realizing, like, I could never trust myself to allow someone to bid these jobs, because one minor mistake on one of those jobs and you're going to bankrupt the whole your company that you spent the last 20 years growing. And so I was like, you know what? I need to go back to pest control. And so my dad had retired. I moved out of the office and then basically started Cura as soon as I moved out of the office. Obviously couldn't work with my brother in the same office with, 2 pest control companies. So did that. And then as I kind of winded down the construction company. It's still going right now, but we're probably winding down at the end of this year. I basically have been funding Cura for the last 6 years when we started, because it's very difficult to create a pest control company when you're not an owner operator. So I haven't done door knocking myself, and I haven't sprayed any pest control in the there's been a couple of days I went out, but in the 6 years, I really haven't done any of the work myself. So yeah, so that's kind of the transition from finance into construction and then the pest control.
So your brother took over your dad's company.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
And you guys had, technically competing companies in the same office.
No, I didn't start anything until I left.
Gotcha. It was when you were working the construction.
I was working
company.
Construction in that office, and then I ended up moving out and leaving. And then as soon as I did that, I started Cura. Yeah.
So there was never any intent for you to get involved with the family business.
There would have been had I stayed all the way through college and everything, but he was already geared up for that, so I didn't want to step on his toes, and so I pretty much came back with the intent of doing the construction company. And then it was just a better clean slate, and I run that and he runs that. So yeah.
Gotcha. So how have you grown Cura over the last 6 years?
The first 3 years were me probably spending 10% of my time doing it. I had a girl in the office and I had one pest technician. And then I had like one termite inspector that would do termites and rodents and things like that. And it was just, I knew it was going to be a slow, long grind because, you know, you need thousands and thousands of pest contracts, and there's many ways to do that, but online, the only way to do that is very expensive. And so I just kind of, you know, worked hard for the 3 years and built everything up. And then I got into door knocking about 3 years ago. And so, yeah, so I started door knocking and learning that's a whole industry in itself. So I've started learning that over the last couple of years. But we've built it from Yelp is huge in our market. Our returns on Yelp are astronomical for what we spend. Facebook groups have been great. I have a guy that runs our Facebook groups. We have SEO guys that have done amazing. And our Google business pages. We do email marketing for commercial customers as well. So, I mean, I think one of the things I would say to like all the young guys out there, owner operators, is that I've learned is you have to try everything. You literally have to try everything and just see what works best in your market and then go all out with that. And that's kind of what we've done. So
it's interesting because I've heard stories of people crushing it on Yelp, and we've tried several times and it just never works. We can't turn the page. And what is it, man? Like what, and it's not my market, because there's a company here that I'm very familiar with that does awesome on Yelp. What is it? What is the difference specifically for that platform?
I think the one thing is, and the one thing I learned early on, didn't really know how important it was when I first started, but I knew I should really take care of it, was making sure I have good reviews. So we have probably 1,500 reviews online on 3 different Google or Yelp pages, 3 different Google pages, and we're 4.9 stars rated across all of those. So I've done as much hard work to make sure that we don't get bad reviews and take care of the customers. And I think that has helped our return online by we have some of the highest rated pages in Southern California.
And Yelp is probably different now. I haven't been super involved over the last probably 5 or 6 years, specifically with our Yelp pages, but it was so frustrating because we would get fake 1-star reviews to stick, but real 5-star reviews wouldn't, because at least at that time, Yelp preferred, it was just more common, right? And it makes sense, like intuitively, if someone's going to leave a fake review, it's usually going to be a 5-star review. But we had a customer that got upset in one of our markets, and their daughter found out about it and got 20 friends to leave us 1-star reviews, and they all stuck. Right. And we had never serviced their pest control. So maybe it wasn't 20, but it was something that caused enough damage to where when we were trying to do the Yelp marketing, it didn't work. I think there's a good lesson here, and that is, well, there's 2. One, you mentioned it. You got to try a lot of different things and see what works, not just for your market, but for your company, your resources, and your skill set. So Jim Collins talks about this in Good to Great. He talks about, he says, fire bullets, then cannonballs. Like kind of hone in on what it is. And we did exactly this. We just didn't land on Yelp. Sounds like you guys did too. But there's a lot of things working for you. So I think that's a big takeaway. And then the other takeaway is, like, you got to grind it out. Like, you got to figure out what is required, and then you have to be willing to dedicate the time and effort, because what you're saying about Yelp, I would say about AdWords. I mean, at least the results that we've gotten and how much cheaper those are for other types of leads. But whatever it is, whatever that marketing strategy is, there is that effort that's required. And I think people, first of all, they think it's a light switch. They're going to flip the light switch. And if it's SEO or if it's AdWords or door-to-door or whatever, it's automatically going to work. And if it doesn't, then they're going to quit. And it's just a shame, because I've seen that happen so many times.
Yeah, I had the same experience with AdWords. I have some really good SEO guys. I'd love to give them a plug maybe at the end, but they started running my Google ads. And after about 3 months, they said, hey, you should shut it off. Your return's just not there. And compared to my Yelp return, my Yelp return, just so you know, my worst month, for every dollar I spend, I generate 5. And on average, it's closer to 10, and I've had it as high as 15.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And there's a couple things I'm super anal about. We respond in under 5 minutes. We man the Yelp from 7 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. It's manned on the weekends. And so just that level of attention to just being obsessed with making that work has, I think, helped us with our returns on that stuff. So a lot of people clock out at 5 and go home and don't think about it. I was scheduling Yelps at 9 o'clock at night and answering them and setting inspections and appointments. So I think that's something, yeah.
We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the BugBucks Plus platform. Navigating the digital landscape of pest control marketing can be overwhelming, but with over 16 years of industry experience, Lizard Marketing knows exactly how to help you dominate your market and outshine the competition. Their team understands the unique challenges of the pest control industry and crafts high-impact SEO strategies, stunning website designs, and laser-focused Google Ads campaigns that don't just bring in leads, they convert them into loyal customers. Lizard Marketing believes that trust, transparency, and partnership are the foundation of success. They don't just offer marketing services. They build relationships with their clients, working side by side to help them achieve their business goals and grow with confidence. If you're a BugBucks member, mentioning your membership unlocks exclusive savings on their services. And if you're expanding your skills through our online educational platform, you'll gain access to even greater deals to strengthen your digital presence. DM marketing to the BugBucks Podcast Facebook page for more information, or visit lizardmarketing.co today. Mention your affiliations and claim your discounts. With Lizard Marketing's proven expertise and client-first approach, you'll adapt, evolve, and succeed. Now back to the BugBucks Podcast.
This is such a great point. It's like, here's the thing with marketing is that we're always concerned with, and you have a great return, and I'm not trying to minimize that at all.
Right.
But there's also other costs, right? It's like, yeah, that's what we're paying. That's the financial cost, is we're making 2, 5, 10, 15 times on what the actual ad spend is. But then there's all these other things that we may not be doing. And for people that are trying to figure out like what advertising, what marketing is going to work for them, remember that. Like, it's not just dollars and cents. Like, you have to build a program, and then you have to have closers, and you have to go above and beyond in order for these things to work sometimes. But then once you do and you figure that out, then you have this money-making machine. That's incredible.
Right. Yeah, it's been pretty good. But yeah, to your point, yeah, we have someone that has to man Yelp. We have to send out inspectors to do the free inspections and all that, whatever that cost is. But yeah, so
let's talk about that. So you sent, okay, so someone, let's say someone, they find you on Yelp and they're like, yeah, I've got ants in my kitchen. What's your internal protocol to close that deal?
So the thing that I love about Yelp that I don't like about Google is that most of the people will text message you in and message you on the app. And so Google doesn't have that option. So most of the leads come in through their internal messaging system. So we have some written out, I don't want to say canned, but thought about, how to respond to different stuff. And we'll list out pricing and what we need from them and all these different things. And so we just basically respond back to that and then just start a conversation from there. So there's nothing, it's hard to really hard close someone on a Yelp text message or anything like that. So it's more just a response of, hey, we can set up a free inspection for you. Here's what we need to do that. Here's our pricing for pest control, couple different options based on some square footage. If you'd like to talk to us, in greater detail, please let us know as well. And so just kind of I feel like I've honed in on kind of what works the best, and we kind of have our messages that we respond back with and then just start a conversation. Okay.
So oh man, I have so many questions. Do you have any automated messages where it's just someone says, hey, I need a quote, and there's anything automated, or is it always a person?
There was an AI company that just reached out to me about Yelp AI that will do that for you. I haven't signed up yet because we're super busy right now in the summertime, something I'm gonna look at in the wintertime. But there is something that will do that. But no, we're copy and pasting from a Google sheet into there, and it's just a manual system. So yeah.
Gotcha. So then they respond. What percentage are you closing right then and there?
I mean, it varies. I think we probably set up more termite inspections and close a free inspection than you do, a quarterly. I would say probably on a pest control, it's probably 1 in 10. maybe 2 and 10, not that great. Our returns, I think, I don't. Well, you're in Arizona.
Yeah.
Is that where your company's at in Arizona?
Yeah, and a few other states, Michigan,
Okay,
Colorado,
so
Massachusetts.
we're in the termite capital of the world. So I think our returns are inflated because I can go set up a termite inspection, close a fumigation, a wood job for $5,000 or $10,000 all the time.
I
So
see.
that's where our returns, I think, are much greater than yours would ever be, because if I was just doing pest control, they would be probably along with everybody else's. Our market is, I mean, Southern California is the termite capital of the world, one of them. So
I see. So we're not so when you say we send somebody out to do a free inspection, you're talking about termites.
for the most part, some people for pest control will want come out, check out my home, but most of the time we're closing them right there on a text message, sending them a contract from Pest Routes, and showing up to the first appointment, and we're done. So that's most of the pest control we set up right then and there, one-times, wasp jobs, roach jobs, all those different services, and then the free inspections would be rodents and termites.
What percentage, and I know you don't have this data in front of you, but of your leads on Yelp, what percentage are termite versus everything else?
It fluctuates with the season. So right now I want to say it's 80-20 pest control, 20% termite. And then in the wintertime, I change it and I don't go after pest control, and I go after termite because I'm getting bigger pops and every job's a little bit bigger, so I can boost up that revenue in the slower months.
So like, what if I said like over an entire year? So you have all seasons, 1 year.
Probably, you're saying leads closed?
No, just total leads.
Oh, total leads. I want to say probably 60-40, 60% termite, 40% pest control. And I can dictate that based on the keywords and certain things. So if I wanted all pest control, I could, or I wanted all termite, I could. But it's been, the way we have it set up has been pretty good for us. So
okay, so that's still a lot more pest control than I would have thought. That's impressive. And so are you managing them yourself? Are you the Yelp guy?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing Yelp. No, I have someone in my office.
So someone's in there making sure that everything is performing well and looking at the data, changing the AdWords, those keywords, things like that?
Well, I do all that on the marketing side. I was just talking about more the responses. But
gotcha.
Yelp is pretty easy. Like I've had it figured. I haven't touched the keywords or touched anything on my account for probably over a year. It's just on autopilot. The only thing I do is I will, which most people would think this is crazy, but in the summertime we get so busy and the per cost lead goes down on Yelp. So I actually take my ad spend down in the summertime and then save all that money and boost it up in the wintertime to keep everyone busy through the wintertime. So I actually do it kind of in reverse of what most people would think, just because we have a big door knocking team this year. So we're actually just maxed out at some point. And so I'm just like, the only thing I change on Yelp is just the spend. So.
Wow, what a difference. Yeah. So I have an office in Detroit and on Long Island. And so we have, like, it's the opposite, right? Because we're not really growing in the winter.
Right.
And you're doing the opposite, which, dude, what a luxury to have. Now, California has its own struggles and trials, right? I have a business in, I think we have 7 or 8 states, and they're all hard and for some reasons, and they're all good or easy for some reasons.
Right.
And so this is one of the reasons why California is great. It's like, hey, I can sell pest control and it's like that for us in Arizona. We can sell pest control in January or whatever. So, that's interesting with the Yelp. Let's talk about door knocking. I think that's interesting that first off, did you organize this large team, or are you using a marketing company?
No, I've built the whole thing from scratch from one guy.
Let's talk about that. How did you find that one guy, that very first guy?
So my family's LDS. I'm not currently, haven't been for a while. I knew all about the Mormon door knocking, and that's kind of how the whole industry got started. So I've always known about it and heard everything. And I knew, being an owner operator, trying to just do this without door knocking would probably be next to impossible. And so there was a kid from church. He was a little older. He was about 30. He came out with me, I think it was right before COVID hit, and knocked a summer. I want to say he put on 50,000 or 60,000. It wasn't a successful summer. He was working by himself.
So that's about average. Just for the listener, that's about an average. That's about what I mean, depending on your contract value. The way that I do it is like, because you don't have a crystal ball, but I'm like, okay, they're going to sell 100 accounts, give or take, is my average person, where I'm going to have guys selling 500, 600, and then I'm going to have guys that will sell 5 and quit. So, okay, so he did about 50, 60,000 in rev.
Yeah. Then COVID hit, that got shut down. I didn't understand that was probably a great time to knock, from hearing from my other guys that run the business, because everyone was stuck at home and they had some big summers. And so I shut that down. Then after that happened, one of my technicians the next year, kind of as things loosened up, walked in and said, "Hey, I got 2 buddies that work for this company, and they do door knocking." And I was like, "Dude, get me a meeting with those guys immediately." And he did. Got a meeting with those guys. They both quit the company they were at, came out and knocked for me. I think they both each put up 100,000 that summer together. The next year we had a team of 6. They all came out. I want to say we put up somewhere around 600,000 or 700,000 that next summer. Last year we had a team of 12. So we had a team of 12 that came out. And mind you, the first guy, he's gone. The other 2, the first 2, the next 2 that came out, they knocked for 2 seasons and then they're gone. And that's door knocking. And then the 2 though brought me, who's probably going to be a partner soon here, a really good guy who's put up, I think, 280 his rookie year, something like that. Really a big stud. And he's helped me build things out with recruiting and people he knows. So we had 12 guys last year, and then this year we brought out a team of about 55. So we have 55 guys this year. We still have, I think we're just finishing off at, there's probably about 40 left right now, and they're going home in the next like 2 weeks. So.
Hey, Allan here. Quick question for you. Are you actually doing anything with all that customer feedback you've been collecting? Or is it just sitting there? That's where our friends at Ask Nicely come in. They help people-powered pest businesses, just like yours, turn feedback into action and real results. We're talking about smarter, AI-powered surveys that know what to ask and when. Your team gets clear, personalized priorities that help boost retention, drive referrals, and grow revenue, all without another clunky platform to manage. They work with big names like Aptiv, Moxie, and Cooks, so they get pest control. Head to asknicely.com/bugbucks and book a personalized consultation, or DM Ask Nicely to the BugBucks Facebook page, and we'll get you connected. Don't forget to ask special discounts for BugBucks Facebook members and BugBucks Plus subscribers.
So, and do you run a traditional summer where it's like, hey, they knock May through August typically, or are they going to knock longer than that?
We had some come out early, and then we in April a little bit, but then a lot of them came out in May, and then some are going home, I think, the end of this week, and then a few are staying until maybe the middle of September. But typically, it's that 4 months. I want to say it's probably closer to 5, but yeah, somewhere around there, 4 to 5 months. Yeah,
that's incredible that you grew it to that from no background without using a marketing team. And I think there's this great lesson of sometimes what you end up with is not where you start. And what I mean by that is, sometimes it's who knows who you know, or whatever, right? Where it's like, right. And it happens like this all the time in business, where you're like, you just want to cast kind of a wide net. And so this first guy, sounds like there was some success there, but then the next summer, the 2 technicians introduced you to somebody else that stayed with you for a couple of years, and you just it's kind of this snowball, right? And it's kind of building up, and then it kind of chunks off, but it's still going downhill. So people still,
yeah.
How are you? And it sounds like one of them is going to become your partner. Was that the plan from the beginning? Like, hey, let's because that's how we've done it in the past with recruiters, is they become our equity partners. We no longer do that really, except for in certain situations. So was that the goal from the beginning? Is that what you're telling these guys early, or is it just straight, hey, you get a percentage commission?
No, we've had talks about that, and I know I can't grow what I want as big as I want by myself. So I'm willing to give up a little piece of the company to get to where I need to be. And I think for me, the natural transition would be to, as I get older and these guys are younger, as they need to make more money and I need to step back more, to slowly give up equity, buy out, or whatever the situation is, and kind of, go into a transition where they take over the business at some point one day through some type of buyout. So that's kind of my long-term plan with things. And I know that's how some of the companies have things set up. Like you said, you guys did that early on. So, I know we're going to have 4 branch offices, probably just in Southern California. So I can't run all that by myself. I can't run that. I need very sharp people that are bought in, that are equity partners to help run all that. So
that's so interesting. We've struggled so hard with equity partners. I think one of the biggest hurdles that we had was we wanted the best recruiters, the best sales reps. Well, what does that mean? Well, these guys are making several $100,000 in a summer. And when they become partners, it's like, well, it's really tough to keep that up and give them equity, right? We had to give them equity based off of their performance. Right. And so it's like, and when you start a new branch, unless you're incorporating them into something that you've already built, it's like, hey, we're not making a lot of money year one. We're just not. That's not the way it goes. How have you been able to overcome that? Have you run into that where getting these guys to stick as equity partners? I don't know. My equity partners, they all took a pay cut the first year, 2-ish.
We're having that exact conversation right now. So we're just getting to the point where that's all on the table and we're having that conversation. And I think they're going to come to the realization of, yeah, hey, listen, like, you know what, if you want to just make the most money possible, go knock for Hawks or go knock for Aptiv, right? If you want to own something, you want to be an equity partner, then you're not going to make as much as that potential situation. So we're actually having a discussion like right now at this moment. So we'll see how I get through it and where it goes. So
yeah. Well, good luck with that. We're wrapping up here. Like, it's funny because I wanted to talk to you about the hurdles that you've overcome and a lot of those things that people setting up businesses run into. We're going to have to do a version 2 of this and get that on the books. For the people knocking doors, like I broker deals between door-to-door companies and pest control companies all the time. I just signed one this morning, and what they can get, the demand is so high that, that's the struggle of building an in-house team. And so there has to be something else. What else is there? That being said, like one of my best friends and one of my most successful partners came into proof through an equity deal. And he's one of the best recruiters I know. And he's awesome. Shout out to Matt Schuler, just incredible success. So, thanks so much, Seth. You're welcome to plug your company or your SEO guy. I obviously own a digital marketing agency, but if somebody's good, I want to hear about them.
The last thing I'll say for all the guys listening, I think the thing that's got us to where we're at and our growth, like we currently have 22 technicians, 3 termite inspectors, office staff. We're probably close to 30 employees plus a branch office. The thing that's got to me that point is unrelenting drive to wake up every day and grind it out 6-7 days a week, no matter what happens. I'm sick. I don't feel like it. There's points this summer I was burnt out and I'm still going and I still love it. So if you're not obsessed with it, you're not going to be successful. And you just have to be obsessed. I mean, I taught myself Yelp. I taught myself door knocking. You can teach yourself everything. You just have to go on your phone basically, and you can learn all of this stuff. It's all at your fingertips. And there's no excuse to not be able to do it. You just have to be obsessed with it. So that's kind of how we grew and got so big, just my obsession with everything, and then obviously stumbling upon the right vendors and different things like that. So yeah, as far as my SEO guys, Striker Digital out of Florida, you can find them on X. They're awesome. They took my SEO and we're ranking in Anaheim, which is probably one of the most saturated pest control markets in the country, on most of the front pages of all the Google searches. Our Google were top 3 in the map pack. So if you guys need someone for SEO, check them out. They're awesome to work with. So
awesome. And regarding what you were saying before, just yesterday I posted on my Instagram that if you want to know the secret, it's start early and be consistent.
Correct. Every day.
And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if we're talking about building wealth or building a family or whatever, any area of your life. You start early, or if you can't start early, you start now, and you're just consistent.
The other thing I will say that I just talked to all my techs a couple weeks ago about this is the one thing I've learned, with all the employees we probably have close to 80 employees between the sales team and the office and everything, is that I've become numb to the problems that arise every day. I don't wake up and I don't bitch, oh God, another this came through the door, a lawsuit came today, a worker comp situation came, an accident, someone, wrecked the truck. I've been through it now so much that I just become numb to it. I solve the problem and I move on. And the one thing that I learned early on is that sales cures all. So you just need to be selling and generating revenue. And if you're a business owner out there that's listening, all you need to do is figure out how to make your phone ring. Make your phone ring and bring in sales, and everything else is going to work itself out, and don't dwell on that worker comp claim that you have because you have insurance, and don't dwell on that accident because you have insurance, and you just have to let the process go and keep working and growing the company. And so that's kind of what I do. And I tell my techs, you're going to have bitchy customers every day. You're going to have customers that are complaining. Just be numb to it and figure out how to make them happy and do your job and go home happy to your family every night. And so I've kind of learned that over the years. I wish I would have known this 20 years ago and stayed in pest control, and I'd be retired right now, but that's not the case. So.
All right, man. Yeah. No, that's very well said. Agree 100%. Yeah. All right, Seth. Well, thanks so much for joining me, and best of luck, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bug Bucks podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please show your support by subscribing and leaving us an honest 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next episode.